Let's make this happen. Hello! Hopefully this is working. Welcome to another, if a little bit, strangely timed Twitch stream. My name is Derek, if you've joined me before. I work at Noodlecake Games here, and today we've got a real treat. We've been, just heads down, busy the last couple of months, working on some really big, cool titles. And today we just, I guess yesterday technically, we just launched a new game available on Steam, that is PC and Mac, as well as Android and iOS, called Suzy Cube, which is a much anticipated 3D platforming game that we're super excited to bring to everybody. We think it's an absolute delight. The game's creator, Louis, has been working on the game for years now, just fine-tuning it and making it just perfect. He's immersed himself into level design and all the little things that make a 3D platformer feel well. And Suzy Cube is the result of all of that hard work. So today I figured we should probably play through a few levels, see what that's all about, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll see. I'm trying to ping the game's developer, and he might hop in and be able to answer some of our questions today as well. So thanks to anybody who's tuning in. And I think instead of just seeing me yap a bunch, I think we should maybe get going. Oh, hey there. Big, oh, look at that. That's a nice little zombie. Hosting. How nice. Thanks, man. With no further ado, I think we should get started. Let's do it. I'm gonna just flip around a little bit. Unplug my... I'm going to be playing on the iPad because I think it's pretty cool that it works on mobile. Here we go. Oh, that looks great. That looks great. I feel really good about that black screen. There we go. Let's try this again. Thanks, El Gato. Nothing says stream like immediate technical problems. That's become the name of the game. All right, there it is. Got it sorted out. Sometimes you just gotta unplug things and plug them back in, and then they work great. I don't understand how it works. Hey twins, how's it going, man? Ahoy, ahoy! This is Suzy Cube, and I'm playing it here on the old iPad. I'm gonna be playing with a game controller because I think that's my favorite way to play. The game's got full controller support on all platforms, and it's nice way for us to get a little extra testing as well. So this is Suzy Cube. As you can see, let's get going. Tech issues make me feel, yeah, this is like, this is not a corporate, well-produced, this is us in a back room that nobody uses with camera, showing off some cool games, but hopefully it's not a complete disaster today. I'm gonna start a new game. I think that's the way we should roll. We should just go fresh new game. No pre-recorded nonsense. I think my colleague Ryan's gonna chirp in a bit on the chat, so thanks, Ryan. Look at that, bought it day one. Thanks a lot, man, that's awesome. That's great. Let's get going and see if we can, I don't know, maybe do like a little casual speed running or something today. I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs, but we're certainly gonna try. This is a nice little cinematic. There we go. Suzy! I'll be doing the voice work for this. Oh, okay, I'm on my way. I think she's probably got a voice like that. My cash! Oh no, they ran away with the taxes! Don't worry, if there's one thing I love, it's tax collection. And so we've set Suzy out here on a quest to get all those tax dollars back. Look at that, they're just sitting right here. And this is it. This is probably reminiscent. If you played any of those classic, like 3D Mario or Mario 64 or something like that, you probably recognize this. What's down here? Look at that! Oh, I've never even really adventured down here very much, but what fun. It's pretty well what you'd expect. We gotta run and we gotta jump. Here we fall into this pit and we find our first collectible. We're looking for these stars generally in the level. Trying to get all the way through without dying, but also for a little extra challenge, we've got some stars. Hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping Lou will join us later and he can talk a little bit more about all the little tiny details, the things that you don't even think about that make that go into a game like this. Like this little jump here. This is kind of your first test at ability to move and jump at the same time. But if you're not very good at it, you fall down and there's not, you know, you're just right back at it. Later on, you're gonna find that, you know, if you can't jump, then things are gonna be bad. And here we go. Our first enemies. We find the dastardly skulls. Hop on their head. We can hop over here for a quick one up. Alright, here's one of our first tough challenges. Now we can make moving challenges, but if you fall, you know, if you fall down off those platforms, that's alright. We've got some tax dollars to collect. Hey Ninja, thanks for joining us, man. Hey Patzilla, how's it going, man? Awesome to have you here. We like see you all the time on Twitter. Thanks for playing it, man. Awesome to hear from Pat the Gymnast. There we go, collect some bucks. There we go, that was the first kind of like little challenge level. What am I playing it on? I'm playing it on my iPad. I started. This game is available on Steam, and of course that makes like a ton of sense to play Steam on the stream. But as it turns out, I'd have to move a bunch of computer monitors, and I've only got a single screen here. And trying to stream and play on one monitor, I think is pretty well dang impossible. But yeah, man, I'm doing really well. Thanks a lot for asking. Look at this guy. We got Leylander. The Leylander there is kind of the dev from our studio that spent the most time on this game, making sure all the little bits and pieces are right. So I mean, that's maybe a bit of a biased opinion, perhaps. But I agree. It plays pretty well. It plays pretty well on all platforms. Like some more bucks. I can see this here, but I've played this level, I don't know, several hundred times. I know we gotta make this jump. Yeah. Got it. Alright, well that was not any kind of a speed run. But you know what? I bet it's a personal best. New best! New best! Like 2.5 minutes. Thanks, man. That's like a participatory ribbon. But I'll take it. I'll take it. There we go. So we did it. We beat the first level. Let's see if we can continue on. So that first level, Onward to Adventure. Let's move on to this one. So in the game, it's made up of like, 5 main worlds. And each of them kind of have these different biomes in it. And so to add a little variety to it, rather than having one world that was all grass levels or one world that was all snow levels, Louis decided that he would mix things up, give you a little bit of a scenic change, and be able to introduce some new backgrounds whenever throughout. So you'll see that each world is actually made up of a couple different platforms. Probably do some more vids on Suzy Cube from my channel. That's awesome. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, so this game today, the App Store rolled over, as well as Steam. We found that it got some nice featuring on Steam and on the app platform. So we're hoping that, we'll be lots of people playing this game, and hopefully the leaderboards are going to be nice and pretty competitive. These little guys. Ah! Yeah! Come here, yeah! There we go. We got our first star. We wander around. Oh, look, there's a little birdie. Come here, birdie. Ah! I didn't catch him. We got gifts. And, we found another little power-up. So, this one, despite its somewhat radioactive-looking nature, it's actually good. It's kind of similar to the star in Mario, I guess. It makes you invulnerable to things for a while. Let's run into some bees while we've got this thing. Come here, bee! Yeah! Come here, bee! Mess you up! Those bees don't know what hit them. Alright, this is not gonna be a speed run either. I'm gonna go back and maybe try it. I'm gonna try and go for completion the first run through. Kinda like about these games, like this is sort of a let's go this way. Yeah! There we go. Making all these jumps. Oh hey John! Oh hey, I thought you were talking to me for a second. I was like, that's not my name. My name is not John. But it is good to see you guys. Alright, well I've turned myself right around. What am I even doing? What am I doing? There we go. Yeah! Gotta make them jumps. Yeah! Keeps so fun. So you should play. I'm glad to hear that, man. Now this is some little tricks with this. I'm just gonna pretty much this is gonna be a walkthrough for the first world at the very least, but we got these little fun boingies, and there's our second star. Trust me, I'm trying to go higher on these, hoping that maybe I can just blast to the top, but that's about as high as you can go on those. Boing. lots of little nooks and crannies. There's been times that while we were playtesting this, oh, my twin bro. Oh, what's up? I'm trying to, you know, sometimes I lay in bed on my twin bed, wondering where my twin brother went. I stole that joke. I don't deserve that. Doing, doing. What else we got? Hey, birdie, where's the other birds? I just want to pet the birds. Oh, look at that. Little tiny surprises. Oh, is that a bird? Oh, that was not even close to a bird. That was like a weed. Alright, no birds. I won't consider this level complete until I find all the birds. That's my secondary goal. So there we go. Susie's got a heart hat. I guess I probably collected that back in the first level, but the heart hat, if you can imagine, which just allows her to take one hit. You know, she takes a hit in the face and she just drops her hat. You know, that's pretty standard for anybody that wears a hat regularly. There you go. Doing, doing. Can we kick this rock? Not this one. Look at these little checkpoints. This part's pretty satisfying. Let's line this up. But wait! Oh. Oh, come on. Yep. There it is. Thought I spotted that on the way up. Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, so this guy, that's what we're trying. For the guys that have played this already in the chat, how far are you? Have you passed it yet? Have you wrapped it? Have you found every star? Are you topping the leaderboards? I like playing a game right at launch because that's the only chance I have to like actually show up on the leaderboards. Pretty soon after that, people much better at even the games that we make just will show us how it's really done. It was nice. I had the like bouncy hoops high score for like for a day. I was proud for a little while. Come here, bird! Ah. I'm gonna get that bird. Maybe it's just the same one. Maybe it's the same bird. 3 stars. Nice! Nothing but stars. There we go. We're back. We're back. I was just taking a peek. Game's main developer said he'd be around, but now I'm starting to get worried he got in a car accident or something. Check in on him. Do a welfare check. Yeah, we're in Saskatoon, but he's currently living in Venezuela. Happens to be in Canada for an expo. I'm at World 3. Need to get good. That's right, get good, man. There's a couple of tricky ones on World 3, certainly. Look at that. It's 5 minutes, best time. Like the first time you beat any level. Makes you feel good. Down we go. I think we should go down. I think, maybe I should try and do this one as fast as possible. It's kind of a fun one. Give you a chance to be amazing before. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, for this one, I mean, we're kind of hoping people will do some speedrunning for it. The levels were certainly designed in a way to encourage. There's like multiple paths, there's some shortcuts. So we're hoping that people will do some speedrunning. Give it a shot. I haven't really looked at the leaderboards too much. We're busy fixing bugs, adding features. When the game is shipped, right? I mean, and we tested a lot. People are gonna find all kinds of weird things that we didn't. So we've been busy trying to fix them up. See, even here, I think we're gonna jump down, but I think we can just shortcut about 3 of them. There we go. Speedrunner! The guys that do the like Mario speedruns that are like, or that are still playing the old like Mario 64 and doing crazy like whatever, any exploit speedruns. These guys are the real MVPs. He came out like 20 years ago. There you go, found a little area. It's kind of a like, this area, if you play the game at all, you'll recognize it. It's kind of like, there are some future levels that end up in these kind of weird pyramid-y things. This is like a nice little taste of what's to come. I love this hat too. This is the double jump hat. Double jump and I don't know. Double jump and flutter hat. I'm sure that there's a better name for it. It's pretty fun. I'll sometimes like get this hat, play with it for a few levels, and then when I don't have it later on, I'm trying to double jump. I just feel sad that I can't do the flutter. didn't have one already, you can also attack this like that. Take his hat. Give me your hat! There we go. Here's our first, you know. If I were just jumping, I can't get up there. So this handy thing is just me. Double jump. And this is doing a jump and a little better. A little teaching moment there. The aviator goggles are sweet. Yeah, aren't they? Look at that little. Oh. They are cute. Cute little aviator goggles. Suzy in general is pretty surprisingly cute for like a white block head. All the little like the little flourishes, I think, that maybe why it took a long time to make the game, but I think that are important and add to that little like game feel, that sort of thing that you can't always describe. All those little flourishes are important. Making the character cute. Let's see. I feel like I can make that jump, right? I don't need to wait! Yeah. Alright. Made it. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, I want to skip this part. If I get onto this, I remember seeing a little... Ah, there it is. Second star. Favorite hat so far, definitely. Although, if you have got to the Stompy hat, that one's like pretty satisfying. Especially in the Plinko level. There's like a level where you just kind of like, you get to just head smash all the way through a level. That's pretty satisfying. Now this is I think one of the hardest stars to find in this level, but you kind of notice there's a bit of a little structure to the right of me over here. When I first played it, I definitely didn't notice this, but take a little detour. There we go. Find yourself. Oh, was that a mole? Come here. Hey, come back here. I want to catch that mole. Come here. All right. This one mole, and it hops you into a warp. Oh yeah, here we go. Gotta like do a little coordination. Got it. We got 3 stars, and now we can just fly through the rest of them. I'm gonna try and go over here. Ah, go Susie! Let's do some falling with style. What was that? Toy Story? You're not flying, you're just falling with style. I feel what this part is. Let's see falling with style. Here we go. It's a little speed. Yeah! Ha! There we go. We did it. We did it. Let's take a peek back at World 1-1. I want to see what the times are and if I'm even remotely close. And I feel like the answer is going to be a hard no. A big old fat no. Absolutely not no. Let's check it out. Let's see who's topping the leaderboards at like day 1. So I did it in 155 seconds. If you're really good and you're playing on iOS at the very least, you might be able to do it in... already hacked. Great. That's great. Or they found a secret. Is that 2 seconds? That's why leaderboards are the worst. Look at this one. Man, Game Center is such a good idea. But it's like day 1, people are gonna be already ripping it. That doesn't seem right. We'll figure that out. Let's do some more exploring. Seconds to go. There we go. This is our first winter level. Maybe Canadian inspired. A little bit of tobogganing throwback. Oh, that's a nice thing. That. See, I don't think you'd be able to find that. I didn't have a double jump. So it's kind of fun to go back to levels where I don't think there are any stars that you can't get with the hats that are in the level. But there are definitely some little shortcuts and secrets that if you do have hats from other levels, you can get like those stars. And we first saw a little... He just sort of took off. Little snowman head. There he is. These little guys are great. Oh, get back here. As you walk by them, kind of fun little surprise. The head pops off and chasing him. Let's hit this here. Let's hit this. Yeah. There we go. I think my new catchphrase is yeah. Like a cowboy. I remember this level. One of the first levels that he died on. This one, especially if you want to try. Oh, there we go. There's these little guys coming after me. This one, I've played it a lot of times, but I still have a lot of trouble with the later part. There's some kind of precision jumping to be done. Over here, I'm gonna show all the secrets. We've got this little guy. Jumps in here. Look at that. Got the double jump hat. So much faster. Alright. We've got 1 star, 2 to go. The double jump hat makes all these jumps a lot easier. Just like that. Oh, I said it made it easier, then immediately fell into it. Oh. Okay, I take back what I said. Immediately regret saying how easy the game was with the double jump hat. Here we go. Oh my god, that was close. Ah! This one, I think. You know what? I'm not gonna bother with those. It gets you a little life though. Okay, now they're starting to move. Do some coordinating. Whoop. Alright, we have this checkpoint. And we've seen this before, so I think we kind of know. Oh, we gotta collect all these coins. Oh god, it's slippery. We need some better shoes. Or like any shoes, really. We've got to. Let's go over here. Careful now, Susie. Get the time up. Well, I guess we're not really in any danger of running out of time at this point, but better safe than sorry. I'll call Twitter to find Louie. I hope he's around. Oh, here it is. This is the part that I always have trouble with. I think I nailed it. Oh my goodness. Oh! There we go. Hopefully we can catch Louie's attention. He'll come in and talk a little bit about the structure of the levels. I know that he was very much inspired by like a story narrative with you know, sort of a, I mean, in the West, if I will. There's sort of a like a, you know, if you took an English class at all in like North America, you know, the, you know, beginning, middle, and end to any good story. Well, in like China and Japanese, they have more of like a 4-part story structure, and with sort of an introduction, you know, and then a little bit different at the end with a twist and a conclusion. So the level designs are actually made in such a way to kind of, in some way, follow the 3 or 4-part story. Where you'll notice that if you go back at some of the earlier levels, there's sort of a section where it'll teach you the mechanic or the new thing for that level in a somewhat safe environment. And then it's going to try and, you know, make it a little harder. Then there's going to be a twist on it where maybe we add 2 mechanics at once, and then there's a bit of a conclusion. So a lot of the levels follow that sort of format, and I'll let, hopefully, Louie talk more about it. It seems like the Fugitive, we're going to find him in a sewer by claiming that, I hope not. God. I suspect that, I mean, normally, Louie lives in Venezuela, and if we can't get a hold of him on Skype, we just presume that, like, the internet is down, which is, like, a very real problem in Venezuela, but less so is in Canada. I suspect that he's probably just held up in traffic or something like that, and if not, we'll jump on another time and he'll answer some more questions. He's probably got I mean, he's been working on this game for I mean, he showed off some posts on, I think, some Unity forums back in like 2014 when he was just working on like a little character controller. And it was basically just like a little dude that moved around and hopped and trying to get all those little feelings for like the friction and how high they jump and all those little bits and pieces. He's been working and tweaking that for like a long time. And then we started seeing some blog posts, I think in 2015 or so, of some of the beginnings of the level design. And so, after 3 years of work, the guy knows like every inch of this game in and out very well, much better than I do. So here we go. So we beat the first 4 levels, and we're on to our first boss level, Riptide Rising. So each world has about, I think, 4 levels, then a boss, and it ends up with like another little special level. We'll do a special one next. There's always a little bit of a twist. I hope no one ends up on any serious. On these ones too, you gotta act a little quick to see this water's filling up. Let's give it a shot. Oh. It can be a little tricky see if I can remember where all the stars are. Oh, we got a little shortcut here. There we go. First star didn't seem too hard. There we go. Speed run. Speed run. 100% completion. Come on, Suzy, you can make it up. Checkpoint. Nice. A little bit tougher jumps now. Oh, these blocks. Wait. There's like a little this magnet. Oh god! Oh god! That was close. Sucking over coins towards me. Nope, I got time for you, Skull. Man on a mission. Oh! That the timing on that was mean. I pulled away just as I was about to get there. Try on this one. Now, I think you can make that jump back, but you might have to be sprinting. But thankfully, this way that comes back. Look at that, we already got 3 stars. And I think we're right at the top. Let's get this checkpoint. Extra heart for life. And, uh-oh, we're introduced to the first boss. A serpent. A blocky serpent, at the very least. I got some questions about how he eats, you know? Like, that don't seem right. Now this serpent probably, you know, as far as lore goes, I'm sure he's the mastermind behind this whole theft of the coins. Let's not forget Suzy's on a mission to collect the stolen tax dollars. You can kind of bait him in, he gets hungry, put little band-aids on his head. Boom! Give him a pop! Pop! Pop him in the head. This is like such a nostalgia trip a lot of times, these sort of things, where you gotta play these bosses with these kind of predictable pattern learning bosses that, I don't know about you guys, but these kind of games just reminds me of playing games in my childhood. Playing long enough to like learn the pattern, and then kill the bad guy. Here we go, here we go. He's hungry. I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. What else we got? What else you got? What else you got? Huh? Bring it at me. Like a little... Trying something to shoot back at him. Hurrah! He says. Shoot that snake for... Oh, good jump there. Good jump. Shoot that snake for like... Don't take my monies! Or something. Probably. Okay, don't screw this up twice in a row. Nobody wants to watch it. The entire level. Ah! Good, good. And he is having some indigestion for that purple thing he was eating earlier. Come on, Snake, you not. Ja! Got him. Go back from whence you came, the water. Where I suspect he's going to drown? Perhaps? Maybe not. I got him. A little extra time. Just for kicks. Let's collect all these dollars. There we go. Do a little dance, Suzy. Do a little dance. We got our 3 stars. Oh, look at that. I mean, it's kind of dark. Is he dead or is he sleeping? Sassy little victory dance. That is a nice little victory dance. Quite sassy. You actually pan around in here. Let's put in a couple little sketches. Standing on some skulls. What's this? Oh, a cube. We got some coins. We got some more skulls. Oh, here's another one too. This makes it seem like she's a villain almost. I imagine she's karate kicking him, and he's like sleeping. He's like, I'm just having a nap. And Suzy's like, I'm gonna kick you right in the jaw. Maybe not. And now we've unlocked World 2, and we can play the special world. So the special worlds are just kind of like a way to, I don't know, mix things up a little bit, keep it fresh. Keep it real fresh. This one's called Random Cowgirl. Now this is the one level where I think I've got a chance to get the best time, because that's the best strategy! I don't know if that'll put me, I don't know if that'll put me on the leaderboard, but This one is really supposed to be like, stay on as long as you can. 295. That's a pretty good time, I think. At least for me. Now that we've got a fast time, I think we should try and get all the stars. So in this one, the camera moves with you, whether it doesn't really follow Susie, it follows the platform. So you can get a little behind. Oh, hop up here. Whoop. Come here, buddy. Hop on down. This is like what were those most extreme elimination challenge? What kind of? I can't remember the name of all those game shows where you had to, like, the Beast and there's a few other ones. Stay as long as you can. Oh no, come back here. Got it. Where does this go? Oh, it disappears. I've never been on that long. Yeah! I did it! She says, I don't know what Susie would sound like. Maybe you have a little deep voice. She'd be like, I did it! That's how I imagine, maybe. Real man voice going on. Should we keep playing? Should we, I like this pyramid one. There's actually, like, if I can get through to... Let's see, where's this, 2-4 is one of my favorite levels, actually. It's really cool. It shows some really cool mechanics, and the level itself's got some cool little shortcuts that maybe I could show you. Or you can show me. Let's see. So we made it through one world. Oh, and because we got here we go. I guess I didn't figure this out already, but if you can get all the stars on one world, we actually unlock some levels in this secret world. So I've got a couple of secret worlds. And these ones I haven't played as much. I can't really remember all the stars in them are. Let's just continue on with World 2 for now. Play a couple more World 2s. So it's kind of a cool one. It's got like it's got some cool maybe I'm biased. Probably like especially biased. There we go! It's kind of neat camera perspective. Top down, a little different than normal. Here we see again the mummies. The mummy skulls. We pop on them. We're like, oh, that's enough of them. But they are immortal. Just leave them alone. They're not worth your time, man. I'm just gonna keep you down. Let's go over this way. Oh. I think we got some boily water. Here we go, here's the first puzzle. So if you tap on these little switches, you'll see that things turn on and off. And if you've played any video games before, you probably recognize that the goal is to try and turn them all on. Oh. Which sometimes you can do accidentally. This little reminds me of those Legends of So-and-So games from back in the day. Yeah, I suppose. If you mean Zelda, I mean, hopefully I can say that. Is that what you're getting at? Oh! I got shot in the face. Okay, this one, I like to... Here we go. We're gonna try and light these. Oh, don't jump. Don't jump in front of there, Susie. Here we go. You can kind of control it if you're on top of it. This is the less stressful way than trying to stand in front and jump away. Yeah, it is kind of like the Zelda games, isn't it? Even the music is a little reminiscent, kind of a throwback. And the changing rooms is like kind of a fun throwback as well. Oh, you know, I'm just gonna jump in this torch. You're gonna see why I wouldn't do that. I got 1 star. Oh, well, you come out that door and immediately you're met with like a gun in the face. And 1 torch lit. That's Gay's Game Sauce. That's nice of you to say. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining us. This level's pretty unique. There's not too many of them that have this sort of like switching room camera mechanic. Oh no, oh no. Oh, we good. Oh, we good. Let's go pick up this checkpoint. Let's get a new hat. This one looks more stylish than the last one anyways. And we've got this little guy. We're met with these little fiery skulls. Let's use them. Let's use him. Right over here. To light these. Come on. Almost got me. Last one. Come here. Come here. Got him. Oh, we got another. Switches. Okay. Oh, I hit this one. And then this one. Oh no. Oh my god, I really got lucky on that. I was like trying to think if I can remember the solution to that. And sometimes you just get lucky. That's how life is. Man, this wall makes me want to just break through it. Can I put down a bomb or something? Ugh. Dumb luck is the best way to solve puzzles, maybe. I didn't even really know what the pattern was, but it worked. Sometimes press all the buttons is the valid strategy. There you go. Let's watch out for these little guys. Yeah! Okay. We're just leaving all that tax money on the ground. The king is going to be very upset, perhaps. Oh, it's over here. Ooh, coins! How did that get in there? Oh, just one. Alright. Oh, back to... Oh. Did someone say free time? I don't know. I got 10 extra seconds for that, but it's probably gonna cost me. It's probably gonna take me 10 seconds to. That was debatably worth it. Oh, okay, here we go. This is the first time you learn how to kill these. Oh, ouch! Oh, he's too far down. Oh no! Oh no. Oh no is right. That was a fair amount of pretty poor coordination. Not the best I've played. Let's try that again. Can't do it this time, then what am I good for? You know? Okay. I have a trick on this, is you gotta lead him over, get the fire started, and then run into them without jumping, and then panic. Oh god. Alright. Louis dead. Alright. No, no! I got distracted looking back at you, and I died again. We can make up for this, though. Ryan, you got some, you must have some freebies or something we can hand out. Just trolling around the chat. Alright, we can go. Can't get that way. Alright. Here's Ryan. Oh, wrong finger. There he is. Hey Ryan, you might recognize Ryan from other Noodlecake things. Ryan, right now I am doing a bad job of video games. Mostly. Oh man, these little guys. Yeah, have we done this one? These little mummy guys, you can only kill via flames. Oh, but I gotta knock him. Oh, this is embarrassing. But you gotta bop him where the flames are. Oh, started it too early. That's not good. Okay, you gotta bop him and then start the flames. There we go. I got one. And let's get the other one.
Hi, Mr. in the background. Hi. Thanks.
Mr. Background. Okay, Ryan. Oh, I didn't get him again. This guy's killing me. Come here. Let's get him. And then, wait. Yeah, let's do the one with the but I must have. Oh, there it is. Alright, after 3 or 4 tries, I've finally done it. That took forever. I played this level a lot. I should be able to do it fast. But some days you just can't get good, you know? Get out of here. Alright.
Everybody.
I'll play it a bit longer.
Thanks for coming by.
That's kind of you to say. See you, Mr. Background. That's your new. That's your new nickname. Nailed on the first try. Oh! I was reading the chat. That was bad timing. Yeah, I sort of nailed it. I shouldn't look away from the game. You guys want to watch someone play a game pretty mediocre? That's what I thought. What? Oh no. All right. Well, actually, I might run out of lives. Okay, take two. I'm gonna pay attention to the screen. Y'all are gonna have to wait in the chat if you want me to read what you're saying. I won't be distracted. Not this time. Go, 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 go! Alright, that took a lot longer than it should have. Nailed it. Nailed it first try. Kinda. Continue on. I really want to get to... Oh, that's the cool one too. I like this one. I'm gonna get to 2, 3, and then we'll take a little break perhaps. This is kind of a neat one. If you... I feel like this is one too that game programmers will probably appreciate. It's surprisingly complicated, the like interaction between two like moving physics things like this as they start to slide. And in order to like find the perfect amount where like she's kind of slippery, can move up some angles but not all angles, is like a really tricky problem. Surprisingly hard programming problem is to get this feel right on sort of sloped ground. And I think this level especially is kind of a neat testament to the little character controller that Louise has based Suzy on. The kind of, you know, you take the art away, how she accelerates, how she decelerates, you know, how high she jumps, all those little details are something. I think it's a cool little lookout point. Ooh, you get a little peek at that star over there. He's kind of peppered a few of these little camera lookout points to either give you a peek at the end of the level or a particularly secret star. In this case, give us a little peek. This little star over here. Nope, first one. Oh, there we go. Oh, let's not go yet. Yeah, there we go. Stupid shock singing behind me. I didn't fall for it this time. Fool me once, egg. Fool me once. Okay. Yep. What? It's kind of like rompy music too. Okay, a lot going on. A lot going on. We got these guys shooting at us now. Oop. Yep. But what's down here? Ooh, a present! Don't mind if I do. Where's the birds? I just want the birds. Come here, birds. Come here, birdie. Oh, ah. Tricky. Oh. Don't mind if I do. Oh, don't dump me. Okay. Oh boy. What's over here? You can risk it. Whoop. Oh boy, it's been a lot of hopping. Always gotta find some flat ground. This is the sort of level I can't. Oh god. Okay, found a star. Found another star. I'm gonna head back and knock it off this platform. Whoop. Okay, we got two. Let's find one more. Whoop. Whoop. There we go. Ooh, found one of these again. Let's do it. Okay, got it. Ah! I thought there was one more. There was not. There was not. Let's try that one more time. This time I'm not gonna jump into the lava. That's a little dev tip for you. Don't jump into the lava. It's probably not the best path. There it is. I may have missed a stop. Things are a little offset now, getting a little tricky on us. And, oh, we did it! Close call. Close call. New best time! AKA only best time. Loophole! Alright, this is it. I think this might... I got time for a little more. What am I kidding? Maybe I'll try and go back and do some of those I want to show you some little, there's some neat little tips in this bit too. I know I can maybe try and channel my inner Louis thought on this. So this one, I know that like Mario 1-1 has been especially Super Mario like NES version, it's like been deconstructed for being able to communicate how to play the game without too much. And so a lot of thought was put into this level as well, and there's sort of a safe space over here. You get a chance to jump and try things out. There's a little hole to explore. Your first challenge. And then here's now where you realize the game is not just a 2D, you know, running in one plane, that you can actually, it's a full 3D. We've been into that other dimension. So that you've actually got to play the game more than just up and down. And I want to show up this kind of little secret area. This is a little secret for the Twitch followers, the Twitch viewers right now. This is kind of subtle, but you'll notice that like there's these little guardrails along here, but over here there's like a bit of a path and there's no guardrail, but you can just see in the tiniest little corner of the screen there that maybe there's a platform over there. So I think what Louis is hoping that you'll do is just make a jump of faith. Oh, and if you do that, you find that there are actually like some things over there. If we hop up here, there's a little birdie. We can run along here. There's another opportunity for another addiction. Plus, there's a bit of a preview here of some of the enemies to come, so if you're a bit of an expert. These sort of shortcuts exist in a lot of the levels. This is really a shortcut. It's maybe not even that much faster, but it's kind of a neat alternative, little hidden secret. So once you play this game through, you'll have to just keep your eye out for little subtle hints that there's another path or there's something more to explore. Over here too, you'll notice that there's this little rock block. And later on, oh, really haven't jumped with that jump. Later on, you collect power-up that allows you to break those things. Then you can start going back to some of the levels you've already played to try and break some of the blocks. Yeah, 1-1. There it is, a little secret path. That one's pretty easy to show off. And I got new this time. Woo! Should I try and do this as fast as I can? I'm gonna try and do it one more time. I'm gonna try and do it in under 40 seconds. I think that's the best I can do. Here we go, 40 seconds. Come on, Susie. Hope you're not sprinting, Susie. There she goes. Here we go. Speed run, speed run, speed run. I don't know if the shortcut's faster. Oh, I can probably jump over there. Come here, come here. Oh no, this is not gonna be a speed run. Not with sloppy jumps like that. Go straight on here. Let's see what we got. Let's see what kind of time we got. Good. But without the gun. 38 seconds. That's alright. If you get this game on your phone or something like that, you should, you know, let me know in the comments what your top 1-1 time is. 38:02. I think I can do better. I bet I could hit like 36 maybe? If I was really gunning and didn't miss the jumps. This one too. I think you can do that one pretty quick if you took a couple. Especially in 1-2, I think if you got the double jump hat, you can save yourself a lot of time. Alright. Here we go, going for a spin. I like that level a lot. Mostly maybe because of technical reasons, where I know how difficult it is to have a little a little character on a moving, rotating object with lots of different angles. But maybe it's not that cool. Maybe it's not interesting tidbit. Alright, this is kind of a cool one. Ooh, coins! We got this little snaky. Let's give him a bop. Okay, come up here. Like a few coins in there. We got this. This whole level here now is about switches and blocks. And it's also going to introduce you to a couple of mechanics, like these rock blocks that can be broken with these big exploding guns. Oh, those little bot. I think this is another opportunity for all your speedrunners out there. If you've got the double jump hat, I think that the ground is about one double jump away up from the top of this tree. Give yourself a little shortcut. I don't have it right now, so take my word for it. But this whole level explores the idea of what we can do with buttons and disappearing and reappearing boxes. There are some kind of things we can do. Snow dudes, come here, pop. So now we hit this, and you don't really know what you've done until you come over here, and then it becomes clear. Star. Oh no. What do I want? This one again. Because I'm pretty sure that because you're pretty far off path at this time, you can kind of warp on back. There we go, we're back on the main path. Take a little detour. Down here, I think is that tree. Maybe we'll have to come back with a double jump hat and try and go fast. What's that button do? I want to know. Ooh. Oh yeah. Up here. What do we got? Ooh, another life. Probably not especially necessary, but lots of peppered little surprises like that throughout this game. Let's keep going. Jump. There we go. Got our first checkpoint. Now this is where things get a little hard. You start to learn that blocks don't necessarily have to be straight. They don't even have to be contiguous. There could be times when they have to jump like that. See some of those rock blocks. What's up here? Ooh, what? This is pretty fun in my opinion. The rockets are going to be trying to get you. Oh, there you got it. And there's a star in there. I fell right into it immediately. You couldn't really see, but it's kind of fun. You can try and use bad guys to your... Oh no! Went right over. Come here. Shoot me, I dare you. Was it trap? Alright, now we've got these homing missiles, a new kind of mechanic. We've got blocks. We've got blocks that can be not in a straight line, and they can include hopping. Now we've got these missiles chasing us. You're starting to see now where we introduce one mechanic. Introduce one mechanic, and then give it a bit of a twist, start to add them together, and see some kind of things happening. So now we've got blocks, jumping, and rockets. Makes it feel like a firing range. Glow. Now this is where stuff starts to get a little crazy. Yep. Let's go over here, and we'll just catch this dude. Let's go down here. Now, over here... Timing on this is pretty tough! Woo! To get that star, you gotta be pretty much perfect. There we go, we got all three. A couple more stars before we're, I think, just at the end of the level. There we go. There's the end. So in that one, we kind of introduced people slowly and safely to the idea of the rockets that shoot you by putting them on a different level. And then once you kind of got an idea, understand that mechanic, and you've done the safely jump, then as you have to mix them together, that's to get some really interesting gameplay. I think that's a really neat idea from the platforming genre as a whole, where you kind of, each level is about some kind of mechanic, whatever that might be. And that one, it's about the switches with the little blocks, and the blocks, or the rock blocks that you can shoot with guns. This one's all about rotating platforms. And this one, I think I've got time for one last level, and it's this one. And in this one, it's all about a new power-up. And this one's pretty satisfying. This similar to the one you tap it in the air. When you do that, she slams down. Oof. There we go. It's pretty fun to get these big ones. Sometimes you can find some nice surprises inside. So let's go on, and this is kind of a longer level. So let's watch. Chain explosion. What else we got? I missed it. No, I didn't. Coins. Susie enjoys a diet of 90% metal coins. Oh, fireballs. Let's keep going. Another helmet just in case. Oh, well. Look at that. Let's see if I can't invite our buddy Louie. He just chopped it. He's not dead, as it turns out, in an alley somewhere. He's around. Oh, hey, Louie. Let me see if I can set up some kind of voice thing going on here. I'm gonna give him a call. Meanwhile, I'm gonna try and do both at the same time, so it's not absolutely tremendously boring. Ready to chat? There we go. And then he'll give you some maybe more interesting tidbits than I would ever. Oh boy, don't do that. Used to the double jump. Look at that, Louie's alive. Alright. I'm gonna give this a little pause. And I'm gonna give him a call. Let's see. Oh yeah, there it is. Hey, Louie.
Hey, man.
Hey, glad to see you're not dead.
I sent you an email from like the side of the road. I was,
Oh no!
Out in the country and never actually sent.
Oh, that's funny. That's okay, man.
Literally, like, wrong way on the highway.
Yeah.
And it's only when it went down to 2 lanes that I was like, it doesn't go down to 2 lanes. And that was like 40 minutes out sort of thing.
Yeah, man, that's it. I guess you just know them Venezuelan roads better, a little bit better.
Well, you know Canadian highways. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same until you hit a city.
Pretty much. I hear you. Well, I got you now on the stream. You're all hooked up. I think if you're in the chat, let me know. Let me know if you can hear Louie all right. We can fiddle with the dials a little bit. We got people saying, "Oh yeah, he's alive." That's awesome.
Yay.
So everyone is rooting for you being alive.
Thanks, everybody.
There was a point around like
I'm just looking to remember what my Twitch login is, so that so I can join you guys in the chat.
Sweet, yeah. Jump in there, and then hopefully you'll be able to see my video through there as well if you just mute it, and then you'll be able to comment more specifically on what's actually happening in the game. I've been giving people my best approximation of what went into the game, but I think you're the real MVP about how this game was made.
I'm gonna guess he got it completely wrong, 100%.
Yeah. I told everyone that you just bought the source code off the internet.
That is correct.
And just did a little asset flip.
That is also 100% correct.
Just
good news.
Apparently
you can log in using your email. Good.
Oh, thank God. Twitch isn't so hard after all. I've got your little face on here, but it's completely beyond me to figure out how to put that into OBS. So you're just gonna be the disembodied voice of the developer.
Okay.
That's all.
I'll turn off my camera, save a little bandwidth.
Oh, sure. There you go.
Some Venezuelan habits there.
Yeah.
Gotta save that bandwidth.
Yeah. Oh boy, things are about to get pretty dicey. I'm meeting for the first time the little bomb skulls. Oh god. Oh god, they got me, Louie. They got me.
Now I'm on the right feed. I was also on the wrong feed.
Computers are hard. You know?
Oh. Let me mute the feed.
Yeah, I don't want to hear myself. No one wants to hear that.
So you're on, God, which level is this again? This is 2-4, right?
Yeah, that's about right. I just did the Winter Switch one, and this is, oh man, the name of it already totally escapes me too.
Kaboom Quarry.
Kaboom quarry, that's it. There we go. We see this little guy running at us. First time we've seen someone new. There we go. We'll just blast him on his way. So I'm gonna power through this one, Louis, and then... Oh my god.
Where's it?
We go back.
The
go
ground
back
pound
and,
helmet is really good for that. It
Yeah.
taking care of those
Okay.
bullies. So yeah,
There
you were
you go.
saying.
Oh, there we go. I'm in. I'm gonna power through this one here. Oh! And then maybe we can go back and discuss. All right, we can continue playing too.
So I don't know
I
if
was
you
just
just
saying-
didn't want to give it away, but you know you can
Yeah.
knock the bombs back by ground pounding near them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know you can. I didn't need it. I was just coaxing them in. There we go. We've got the. Oh man, double jump habits die hard.
Oh yes, yeah, that is true. You have to be careful when going from the double jump to the ground pound.
I got some of these coins here. Ah! These guys, man. Come here. No. Uh-oh, it's too high of a jump. I just like breaking things. It's just surprisingly satisfying. That's not gonna work. It's just surprisingly satisfying. Just running around and doing the ground pound a bunch. There we go. Got him. Suck it, skulls.
So if since you're on this level, should have thought of this sooner because you're about to finish it.
Yeah.
But I'll give a little tidbit about the ground pound.
Sure. Yeah. Lay it on.
So for the longest time, the ground pound broke blocks, killed dudes, and activated like ground pound switches.
Yeah. Right.
And the thing is that compared to the double jump, it just really felt like a downgrade.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I'm not an idiot. The double jump can't be beat. And the thing is,
So
it's
good.
because it's a platforming game, and the double jump
Yeah.
like naturally extends your most fundamental ability in the game, just to like jump, right? So I mean, it's gonna be unbeatable, and it's going to naturally lend itself to being useful as well. But the thing with the ground pound was that the stock implementation basically required contrivances to be useful.
Okay.
Right, like I had to put in rock enemies specifically. I had to put in breakable rocks specifically, or switches specifically, or else it didn't really have like a broader use. So there was like a later in the project pass where all the levels were designed and sort of near final, where I did go over all the levels and sort of ensure that both power-ups like felt useful, and that's when I added a lot of like extra breakable blocks in, if I can say, like non-ground pound levels, just to add a little like, oh yay, I'm so glad I still have the helmet this level.
Totally. I noticed that even in 1-1, there's like right near the end of the level, you see that brick, and you're like, how do I do this? And it's like always in the back of your head, like, I remember that brick, but I don't. And it's not until quite a bit later that you think, I should go back and check out some of those older levels as well.
Yeah. But before even doing that, that's when I came up with I was thinking about this issue of like, ground pound is comparatively lame. And that's when I came up with the knockback effect. So that at least sort of gave the ground pound a thing that was useful to do regardless of the level. Any level with an enemy, suddenly you can ground pound and give yourself some space. And on top of that, that was also like when I implemented the projectile deflection. Something that I noticed that a lot of players, a lot of testers and stuff did not notice right away, and which I'm fine with. I'm fine with folks having something, to discover, something to stumble upon. And in fact, just for our watchers here, give something away. if you have the ground pound helmet, you can fast track a lot of the boss fights.
Yeah, right.
Because the boss fight, the boss fireballs that it spits down are considerably faster than most other fireballs in the game. So you basically have to learn the timing so that you've initiated the ground pound before it even spits. But if you do learn that timing, you can reflect the fireballs back in its face and cause it to go into the stun state where it falls down onto the center platform, and you can land a hit on them.
I think I didn't discover that until you get to the ground pound boss, when there's the actual switches you have to do. And then when I hit the switch, I think maybe I just accidentally did it at a time when a projectile was coming at me. And I hit him and I was like, oh no, I broke the game. I think it was a bug. And then I discovered that, oh my god, yeah, this is like a new world of possibilities. So Louis, I want to jump into a level here, and then, so I've got so we got a little something to look at as well. What's a good, I want to talk a little bit about the story structure part of the level, and sort of the the introduction and the twist and all of that. What's a good example for that?
Ooh, a good example for that would be, you've already done Snowy Switches.
Yeah, I was just talking about that one.
But that is a good one. Man, why is nothing coming to mind? Of course, why you put me on the spot like this?
Oh, I should have emailed you with some questions. But...
Yeah, going for a spin is another one that sort of follows that structure pretty well. Okay. It was kind of a loose structure,
Yeah.
If I'm honest with everybody.
Yeah. Well, I can maybe play through this one more time, and then you can kind of explain what each section is about. This part's about just introducing you to the idea of the spinning ones, and then we'll get a little bit of a commentary as we go about. Maybe you can explain just briefly, more broadly too. I did a bad job. I couldn't remember the name of it, and I also can't pronounce it whatsoever. That four act structure. What's it called again?
Kisho Tenketsu.
Of course, that just rolls off the tongue.
As far as I know.
Yeah, that's probably
rusty.
Mine's even rustier. So just give a little what's a little introduction to that idea?
So the premise as it applies to game levels like this, and as explained by the director on Mario 3D Land and 3D World and Odyssey, not Odyssey, Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Is this idea of first of all, every level has a thing about it that makes it distinct. And in this level, it's going to be these rotating blocks, which incidentally used to be matte shaded, everything.
Yeah.
But then I ended up adding that sort of specular shine on them because it shows off the movement better.
That's probably true, yeah.
So in this level, you started out in a space where you had 3 of them to navigate, but there was a grate underneath.
Yeah, that's right. Now that you've done it, I'm just going to show it off as we go. How about this? Restart. That's a feature if I've ever seen it. So the very first one, we're introduced to the new mechanic, but it's safe.
Exactly. So, you get that stuff rotates, but, you're not going to fall to your death. So here, you see, oh, okay, well, I can't proceed. That's also important, right? There are points like this where I do an intro thing like this, like the double jump intro, for instance. Yeah. Where you're forced to use it for the first time. You can't proceed without it, right? So here, it's you're gonna have to do the rotating blocks to get across. And then once you've sort of shown, okay, you can do the rotating blocks, good. Next, try a different configuration where now you can die. So the idea is first you intro, then it's challenge number 1. Yeah. So then on this is sort of all kind of part of challenge number 1. I give you a couple of new configurations of the blocks that are over danger. And in general, if my central hook for a level wasn't more of an aesthetic one, then and more of like a platforming challenge one, then I would use like little areas like where you were there as little respites. And then I'd probably put, you know, some stuff for you to pick up, a couple enemies to deal with. So, you know, you can kind of, you know, feel your muscles tense up as you're about to die on one of these things, and then release that tension on a couple of skulls or something once you get to one of these areas here.
Oh.
See, so that's an example of, you know, just a little freebie that you couldn't otherwise get if you hadn't come in here with the helmet.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty funny. Like you're watching this on like some hilarious delay. There's like a bunch of delays between a bunch of stuff. So I'll try and do my best to describe. But there was a ground pound block that I think ended up giving me a life.
Yes.
I think there might have been coins or something in there, but
that was a 1-up. Although you do have 11 coins, maybe it was a 1-up because of coins. Wait, we're not. But yeah, so after that, you ended up on some, again, new configurations. There was that cannon shooting at you, so that's sort of a fallback trick that I used in levels where it's like, okay, do the thing you've done, but now contend with fireballs coming at you, or contend with bees buzzing around you while you do it.
Oh boy, that was close. This is now starting to get pretty tricky. Whoop. Whoop. People in the chat are asking, is Derek a pro gamer? Absolutely not. Pretty much the opposite of that, in fact.
Derek is a pro tester.
Pro tester, pro like 100 things on Noodlecake. But for this game, I did a lot of testing and ended up playing what ended up being the first world on a lot of different hardware.
Yeah, Derek was the guy who would take the game home and then, because I mean, you know, I wasn't gonna report myself to HR for overtime, so I'd often still be working on the game in the evening, or there was a 2-hour delay between Caracas and you guys are in Regina, right? Saskatoon. Saskatoon and Saskatchewan. So I could easily be like at my desk 2 to 3, if not more, hours before Leland, who was the primary dev on the game on the Noodlecake side. So I'd be the one basically like receiving all these nighttime bugs from Derek, just piling up, and I'd be doing the same too. I'd go to bed during like the last couple weeks. My routine was basically go to bed with the latest build, and then just play, and I'd be like pausing to go and log a bug, go back to playing, log a bug.
Yeah.
So then I'd get up and
that was it too.
All my bugs and all of Derek's bugs, and then try to hammer some stuff out, so that Leland could then suck it down and start his day.
Every day started with a bit of a unfortunate oh my god, we got a bunch of problems to fix I think we had before.
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask you about, Louis, as well, I alluded to this before you joined us, but the difficulty of making, this is just a technical programming thing, but the difficulty of making a character controller that can work on so many different angles and that has the right slipperiness and friction and all of that. How much testing back and forth and getting right? I think spinning, rotated, sloped things is probably the biggest nightmare for an in-game character controller. What's the secret?
So, agreed. I'll tell you the secret when I write one from scratch.
Okay.
So, little guilty admittance moment. The character controller, it's highly modified over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But it started as a stock Unity script, like one that's written by Unity, like an example script.
Oh yeah, the third person one. Or something?
No, like one of the older ones. They call it like the character motor script.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A really old like JavaScript character controller.
That's right.
So before this was even like a product, when it was really just me sort of fiddling around and getting back into Unity and remembering what programming is, I was playing around with the character controller, which was sort of notoriously bad, and discovering that really it's just their default settings, because it has like a whole wall of settings that you can tweak, from like slope slippage to acceleration to all sorts of stuff. And after like a couple of evenings of just dinking around with it, back when the character was just like a pill shape, I realized that like, it's a very competent character controller.
Mm-hmm.
The settings just suck.
The defaults are
that's really what it was. Now, over like the years of working with it, I found like other like issues and edge cases that kind of needed addressing, but that was essentially my starting point. So all like the really the trickier stuff to get working, like, you know, without jankiness, such as slopes, as you mentioned, moving platforms. It's when you're writing a character controller from scratch, it's not as simple as like, oh, you're standing on a platform. No, the platform will literally just move out from under your character if you do it that way.
Slippery.
So like this idea of, you know, detecting which platform you're on and treating that as, you know, as your parent platform temporarily, stuff like that. That was all handled in that script already. So that's sort of how I cheated my way to something functional from the beginning. So as far as getting like the character to sort of work well, that was more of a designer's job. Yeah. More than sort of a programmer's job. Getting it to do the things it did not do before, such as like the sprinting, the double jumping, the slipping. What else? The stock character controller can push physics objects around, but cannot be pushed by physics objects. So, like, moving obstacles could move you up and down just through the nature of the controller's made to stand on things, but could not push you from the sides. So I sort of Frankensteined a solution for that, like a secondary physics collider that follows the character around, except when their positions don't match. Meaning, the physics collider got pushed, got pushed off center. At which point, then the character like follows the physics collider.
It's what? Porridge the Cantankerous? I guess, yeah. We're giving all the bosses new names, Lily. Serpent. Yeah, he's just he's a big fan of this endless ocean of porridge, and he's not happy. That's for certain. Woo! Boy. Yeah, that the double jump hat, man, feels good. It feels good. Well, the character controller stuff I know is like something of my personal interest to me at the very least, and it's funny how much game dev stuff is sort of like, you know, it's a good base. You can get a good base started from somewhere, or by following sort of like the standard for the genre or whatever. but it's like those little tiny tweaks. It's the little numbers that you have to go back and forth on that make all the difference. I know that lots of guys that are doing Unity games will start with, you know, Ultimate FPS or some kind of weird like pre-built big Unity asset, but then they can tweak it a little bit, and so those little tweaks and then changes they do that are so cool. I don't know if you've played Slime Rancher at all, Louis.
Yes.
But that game started off as a Ultimate FPS. It started off as like a military shooter package that they used someone else's controller for, and then they just made it cute and made it work for them. And it's funny how often that probably comes up in industry where it's, you gotta make it work. You can make it work for other game that you need.
And I think
oh man.
So I'm in Ottawa currently, which is where I'm from, but not where I currently live. But I'm in town for a conference. I'll be doing a talk, and in fact, a big part of the talk is talking about the difference the details make. And it's often like, it's that stuff that players don't even realize is an issue, and that a lot of devs often don't realize is an issue. And it's those things that really make the difference between, you know, good and great, or even sometimes like functional and good.
Yeah. Right.
And like, I think the work I put into, because I said, you know, after some tweaking, I got the character controller to feel good, but then like cut to, you know, 2 years part-time later, and I'm still like, oh, actually, this value this way, that value that way, sort of continuing to massage it. And it's like, that's one of those examples of, your implementation can technically have all the parts to be top-notch, but your knobs just aren't in the right place, right? And it makes all the difference, right? In one instance, you're like, oh wow, this game plays like garbage. And in another instance, it's like, oh no, this game is super responsive and feels great.
Yeah.
I'm not being presumptuous or anything, I'm just saying that's the goal.
It's like those little things. I mean, like in this game, right? Like, we know that the on-screen joystick, there's going to be some people that we can never win over, but I know that you spend a lot of time trying to make all those little tweaks up for the numbers to feel good. Sometimes when people give us feedback, especially on the mobile games, they'll say, you know, just like, the controls feel bad. And we try and pressure them, like, what feels bad? And they're just like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it's like, it's something about it doesn't do what I want it to do. And a lot of times, you know, like, for us, we can look back and be like, okay, the problem is that the character decelerates too slowly, so then they feel floaty or something like that. And so I know for you in this game especially, it's been trying to make sure that the things feel tight, that the game, you know, that the controls do what you want them to do. And that's easier said than done. I mean, to get like a project up that has a joystick that you can move something around, sure, you could probably do it in an afternoon. To make it do it so that people can't describe why it feels good is another problem altogether.
Yeah, like, and for Suzy, I mean, you know, huge part of the work was basically building out the content for the game, and there were, you know, bug fixes and improvements throughout that process. But I'd say, like, the difference, like you said, the difference between it working and it being, like, shippably acceptable is the difference between, spending a couple of evenings and, oh, it works, and I got it to run on my phone, and, you know, oh, a virtual joystick, and a year of work.
Yeah, or several.
No, like, it's like, that's the sort of, like, scale difference between, especially these days with tools like Unity and Unreal and Game Maker, where, like, you can jump in and have something working so quickly, and you are just miles and miles away from a product.
Yeah, man. I want to talk a little bit about this fourth perspective level.
Sure.
And I know that Egg here saying he loves that one. I also thought it was like quite a delight. It was like a nice change up from all the stuff we've been doing. What's this? I had to step away, ordered an air conditioner, finally arrived. You stay cool, Egg. You stay cool, man. Talk a little bit about this particular level. I thought it was kind of unique. What were some challenges in designing this level?
I've always been super upfront where, you know, this game started as a project where I was simultaneously basically obsessively watching videos and playing through Super Mario 3D Land and really doing like a deep design dive on it. And it does a few of these sort of puzzles with the added twist that you can actually like turn up the 3D slider and basically give it away, right? But I really like the concept of that like not quite enough perspective for the illusion to be broken, and then you're like wondering where are the blocks actually. Funny enough, that was one of the levels where like a buddy of mine was doing a lot of testing with his kid and himself. I'll name drop. It's Phil Struffolino. We've done a number of games together, and
shout out to Phil.
He's gonna be doing Flicky Marble. That's what it's called. Yeah, Flicky Marble is coming out later this month. We basically like devved these games in parallel, sort of thing.
Cool.
So he's played a ton of Suzy Cube, and he comes back with feedback about that level where like he can't even pass the first puzzle, and like completely stumped. He gets like I've seen people attempt it who didn't even get what they weren't getting.
Yeah, I was just like, it's broken.
Yeah, so like he at least got the concepts, like, right, the perspective is making it so I can't tell where the blocks are. But then the funny thing is, in the same feedback, he says, but I don't know if you should change it. My son got through it all on his first go.
What?
And I was like, oh man, I did end up, like, what shipped is not what he gave feedback on. So there was some tweaking. Mostly it was about like putting blocks to fill in spaces where you could sort of get lost out of view or underneath. Just to make it like less likely that you'll have like no idea where you are. And that like as far as like, you know, watching people play and stuff, it seemed to solve most people's issues with, especially getting through that first puzzle. It's like most people seem to have the most issue with.
Yeah, I think when I played it the first time, I was just like super overconfident. I saw the little preview. I was like, I get it. I know what to do. I just jump here, and then I was like, oh, jeez, where do I? And then it fell apart so quickly. It was so humbling to be so wrong.
And that idea of actually starting the camera on a completely different angle and then having it ease into the gameplay angle, that wasn't initially in there.
I didn't get it. Oh no, I didn't get the star.
Like my initial implementation was just like, you think it's one thing, ha ha ha, and then I quickly realized, watching like tester footage, it was like, oh, people are just not getting this at all. And I figured, like, I think they're not even getting what the joke is.
Yeah, they're just frustrated.
And then that's where it was sort of important to, you know, sort of give it away first. And then, because I find with that initial angle, you see where the blocks actually are, and then, like, you actually see your perspective on the level shift as it goes to the gameplay camera, and the illusion kicks in. And you sort of go from like, okay, so they're blocks, and they're, oh wait, now they look like they're not where they were. Right? And I sort of hope that you know, at least gets people over the hurdle of not even understanding what the joke is, basically.
Yeah. It's like that little change is all that's necessary to show that. But it's like you gotta be difficult without being unfair.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is.
Oh boy, I slipped right off. I've done that before in real life.
But that's the that's basically like you've just boiled down the essence of level design.
Mm-hmm.
It's hitting that sweet spot, and it's going to be different for every game, and it's going to depend like hugely on what your intentions are. You know, are you trying to make like a tough as nails, you know, every jump counts like Meat Boy, or are you trying to, you know, hit more of the, I don't know, Hat in Time sort of end of the spectrum? I guess no, that's not even a good example. I didn't want to name Mario, but that really is the best example for like the other end, where you know, there are challenges to be had, but you kind of seek them out. You know, the critical path usually isn't like crazy difficult or anything.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. I'm cutting you off like a jerk. But I want to know a little bit about how you manage to balance things. That's the one thing that we see. We see a lot of games and devs are pretty set, and I want it to be a really hard game. And we have to try and convince people. It's like, you've been playing this game for 2 years. You are a terrible judge at how difficult it is. How are you able to see the game with fresh eyes, or do you see it in a way that you go, oh, this game's too easy?
No, it's literally impossible, and it is. Like I've repeated this a billion times since it was said to me at my very first my very first game job by one of the level designers on the project I was on, where he said, your game is harder than you'll ever know, and it's literally impossible for you to gauge the difficulty. And then that's just like remained a lesson I just learn and relearn and relearn and relearn throughout my career. And it's a lesson that I've taken to other studios, and you know, new project, fresh team. Like, okay, guys, just a warning, we will have no idea how hard our game is. You know, we have to keep that in mind. Because, and it's not even like the solution is make the game easier than you think it needs to be. The solution is playtest the game.
That's it.
Because even your idea of what is easier, like that's not the right idea. You're just not in a place to make those determinations, and you have to just accept that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the concept that I have, and then have it play tested, and see if people are failing how I expect, and how they are sort of surprising me with their failures or the difficulties, so that you can then, you know, address those, not based on, like, yeah, there's some intuition and experience that goes into it as well, like, don't get me wrong, but there's no substitute for literally fresh eyes.
So Louis, what was the biggest surprise that you found while you were playtesting this game? What's something that you thought maybe wouldn't be a problem? What's something that you were just totally wrong with?
Oh man, because it happened like.
Oh no!
It happened so many times. I wish I had the list of levels open in front of me. Well, you went through 2-1, right? The Pyramid Plunder?
Yep.
Yeah, so like that one, for instance, and I'm like 100% fine with this because Suzy Cube is not a puzzle game. But like the Switch puzzles, literally no one actually figures them out.
Yeah.
Because they're simple enough that you can stumble onto the solution, and everyone I've seen is like and now that like some people have been like doing short let's plays and stuff and actually talking over, like it's only reaffirming what I saw in tester footage before and what I saw from like handing the game to people is like people basically just go like this, that, this, that, this, that. Oh, the door's open.
Louis, I'm embarrassed to say, if you ever go back and watch the beginning of this very stream, when I played that level, I was like, all right, it's time for this one. I think I remember how to do it. And then I pressed like 3 or 4 buttons, and I was like, oh, I guess that was it. And people were commenting like, blind luck does it again. So, yep, that, you're... You're right. I play this game a bunch, and even though I do understand the pattern, I often don't know why. I get it right generally by luck, I admit.
Oh, so one big sweeping change actually was swapping the snow levels from World 1 and World 2. So snowy switches used to be in World 1. And in, you know, like neither of them were in their final form, but and like the sliding one, Snowy Slopes I think it's called, is like, it's tough if you're going for the stars. It's sort of medium, I think, if you're just trying to go through it. Snowy Switches though, that one, like it definitely.
Since you got 2 guns shooting at you, it's like it ramps up pretty quick towards the ending when you've got enough of those rockets coming at you at once.
Yes, yeah, and also like I made a lot of changes to make that level easier. One of them was the rockets didn't used to collide with each other, which is just like which is just a good thing to do. So like I knew like, yeah, that's just, it's what should happen, but also I knew it was gonna make that level easier, but it does nothing to actually reduce the tension. Because like, you're still sweating bullets when those rockets are coming at you, even if you're perfectly safe because they're gonna hit each other and would never hit you. In a minute, you still have 2 rockets coming at you. Yeah, so that stress level is still like way up. So that's the case where you know, I thought it was totally on the mark, and every time I saw someone, you know, playing the early levels, they'd get to that one and it was just this difficulty wall compared to the breeze that had been like 1, 2, and you know, 3 is a little tougher, the double jump hat intro. But like 1 and 2, not much challenge there. They're just about getting a feel for things. And 4 was just like, womp womp, game over a million times. And I was like, no, that cannot remain that way. And I couldn't really see like a way to salvage the level without sacrificing a lot of it. No, you know what? It's no longer that. That's a World 2 sort of level. And the challenge like sort of actually starts. So I just swapped them out, and thankfully like the World 2 snowy level was the sliding one, which wasn't too bad, and I dialed it back a little bit. Although apparently like not enough watching some of the Let's Players.
There's that one. We had that one Filipino guy that it's although it's pretty entertaining to watch him. He was pretty upset.
He's super entertaining, and he struggled like hell on that level. But again, he was like specifically trying to get the stars.
Man, as soon as you tell me there's collectibles, though, I gotta get them all.
Yeah.
If I don't get all the stars, then I feel like I failed.
Well, that was another like huge lesson that I took away from the Nintendo games is this idea of you don't have a choice of difficulty. You choose how difficult you want to make things on yourself. So like you don't need nearly all the stars to get to the ending of the game. You know, putting aside the secret world, which is really just, you know, a little something for the obsessive folks. You know, for everyone else, you know, you get, I think it's like 1 or 2 stars per level, and you have plenty to unlock the star locked levels. And that the idea there is, yeah, I want to give value to getting the stars. I want to.
Oh no! I got stuck. I did a bad job. Sorry. Precision platforming.
So, you know, it gives value to the stars, and it incentivizes, you know, finding out what it's like to try to get them. But the idea behind the stars really is, yeah, getting just from A to B is, you know, a challenge. Getting off.
As you're saying, getting from A to B, all I can do is die. That's the only thing I can do during the as you're saying, A to B is the challenge. I am struggling exceptionally hard to do so. Ah! Who made this game? I've got some words to say to them about this particular part.
You have the sound on though, right?
Yeah, I do. I know. I'm just gonna cheat and get this little power up thing down here, and then I'm just gonna power through. Oh, it's not gonna last. The sound is somewhat helpful, but I've got so many other things going on. I made it. Here, little boom sucker. Come here. Yeah. This level 2, I think Louis, maybe I got time for this one, and maybe we can play one quick Plinko. This one, the other day we had someone asked on the Steam forums where a particular star was, and I confidently was like, oh yeah, I remember where that is. And then the second star in this level is a real doozy. So this is going to be the public record for anybody who, you know, gets really stuck.
It's not a doozy that, like, you'll die a bunch of times trying to get it.
No,
it's more like,
but it's easy to miss.
You've got to be confident in your exploring to find it.
I'm pretty sure I found it the first time on my own. But as soon as that guy asked the question, I immediately forgot and all. And then I asked Ben, one of our developers, and Ben was like, oh yeah, he finished the entire game, got all the stars and everything. And then him and I couldn't figure it out. Then we got Leyland involved. Leyland was trying to find it. And then the 3 of us were playing a game trying to find this stupid second star that we'd all found before but couldn't remember. And that's when I said, people are gonna have a tough time with it. But like, it's kind of fun playing when this game first comes out because it harkens back to the old days when you couldn't just Google the answer to any game problem you had.
Oh, I was so looking forward to like this period right now, where the intrepid first players are like building that knowledge base.
Yeah, right.
Discovering where the stars are. Discovering like you did, you showed where there's that hidden invincibility power up.
And then jump off to my death. I did a terrible job.
Yeah, no invincibility power is gonna save you from that.
Yeah, I showed off the little secret in 1-1 as well, because I feel like that's gonna be one of those like until it's widely known at least. I feel like that little alternate path with the B in 1-1 is gonna be, you know, a secret for those that adventure further than others.
You mean the path to the left that leads like upward?
Yeah. Off the railing there, yeah. That one's pretty subtle. Like you kind of see it when you play. You're like, okay, it looks like a little bit off, but it's not enough. Like it wasn't quite enough for me to entice me the first couple times I played. When I was like thinking, I don't want to jump to my death in the first level. Well, later on when I tried it for a little bit,
which is actually like a nice tidbit behind the scenes stuff, is that for the longest time, instead of using those invisible blocks that just sort of appear under your feet, you could actually see the walkway up to that point. So there was a gap, but the walkway was visible off screen, or just nearly off screen. And what happened is no one went the primary way. Everyone
really?
took the side route.
Huh.
It's like, it's not a side route if everyone's taking it.
Yeah, right.
So then that's when I pulled the walkway back and I used the invisible blocks, in order to, encourage people to go the primary way and sort of feel, smart and risky to take the side path.
Sweet. All right, Louis. I think I'm gonna end it off with a quick Plinko run.
Cool.
I can't remember if there's. I don't know. Is there a path that I can get all 3 stars?
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna try my memory. I think the first one's to the left.
You actually see it in a little preview.
Oh, really?
Yep. You see it both in the background of the panel and in the little 3D render.
Okay, the next one's like closer to the center. There it is. The last one. This is where my memory's gonna fail me. Over here? No, I got the wrong one. I blew it. I was so close. It's gonna take me 2 tries. All right. So these little special levels, they're just kind of a way to break up the monotony a little bit. Try some riskier level designs, some silly things. Which one ended up being the most fun for you?
I liked Plinko because I don't know, that was just this weird little idea that I had to do. The one I probably liked playing the most.
We're playing with touch now. My controller died.
There's a later one. Possibly the World 5 special stage that where you have to chase piggy banks.
Yes.
And that one, because the sad reality of game dev and especially level design is that you just cannot enjoy the game in any sort of player-like way anymore,
yeah.
Right? There are no surprises, there are no challenges there. But
when you set every block up.
But the piggy banks, they remain, they have that weird behavior about them that makes them they remain fun to chase.
Yeah. Right.
So
I think it's maybe that randomness, right? A lot of your levels, I mean, you have a bit of randomness in the players, but they're kind of combined. And so you've seen it a million times. But the piggy are a little bit more free range, a little bit faster, a little bit more unpredictable.
Exactly.
So maybe that unpredictability is still fun for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's you've nailed it.
That's it. All right, Louis. Well, it's been an absolute blast having you on here. Thanks so much for joining us and for sharing all the secrets of Suzy. I'm sure that you are looking forward to having some well-deserved time off. The game, for everyone who's watching, is available on Steam, iOS, and Android. We got some awesome featuring by iOS today. We are super excited to open up the App Store, so we're hoping that lots more people will be playing it soon. Louis, any closing remarks?
I just really want to apologize for being so late. That was unforeseen.
That's all right.
I mean,
we blame the Venezuelan internet. It's always a scapegoat, even if you're not there.
Yeah, sure. That's what it was. That's totally what it was. No, I mean, if you're gonna have a phone with GPS on it, maybe use it, you idiot.
Yeah, Google Maps is great, as it turns out.
So, apology out of the way. What I really want to say is, I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into making this game, and it's not, I know that it's not blow your socks off revolutionary. It's very by the book, but I really wanted to deliver something that I felt was well executed to folks, especially I don't want to disparage any devs. There's amazing games on mobile, but then there are also those folks who just they don't care or they don't get it, and I didn't want Suzy to be one of those games. I really wanted to. I love playing on mobile, and I really wanted to deliver on what what you can do on the platform with this kind of game. and I'm just really thrilled at the reception that the game has gotten, and I want to thank the folks who have been following along with the development and being super encouraging over the long development. So yeah, that's it. Thank you is basically all I can say these days. I don't have enough thanks to give. So thanks to everyone who tuned in today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right. Well, Louis, I'm sure that I will still see you in the chats, and I'm sure we'll be butchering some more bugs yet, adding some new features as Susie goes along. So it's nice chatting with you, man.
Same.
And I'll catch up with you soon. All right. Bloop. He gone. All right. Well, oh, look at that. We've got a chat. I forgot about that. Thanks to everybody who joined in today. That was a lot of fun. We've got some cool big things happening in the next few weeks, so I'm sure I'll be back here on Twitch, hopefully talking with some devs, talking game, talking all kinds of things. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll be back someday. I don't want to make any promises.